Thank you tonight for joining our TMBT Media Las Vegas podcast. This is our third episode of our Live from Las Vegas. And tonight we're blessed to have with us sports marketing guru Donavan Carter from Miami, Florida, born and raised. Donavan, welcome.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Yes, it's a pleasure for us to have you here tonight. And we've been talking all day about everything from basketball to marketing. And I've learned so much from just being in your presence. So I appreciate you taking the time, being with us today. And we're going to try to learn what we can in a short amount of time about what it is you do and what makes you the guru that you are. Graduate of FIU University, degree in marketing. Talk to me a little bit about who Donavan Carter is, what you represent, family man. Just tell our listeners and fill in the blanks for us of who Donavan Carter is.
Well, like you said, Mr. Bell, thank you for having me again. I'm from Miami, Florida, born in Liberty City, partially raised in North Miami Beach, went to North Miami Beach Senior High School, played for Coach Lawton Williams, 8-time state champion winner, one of the powerhouse coaches for Miami basketball. And I really am just proud and happy to make it out of the certain situations that young black men have to come through, and in terms of being productive in their life, reaching the age of maturity and intelligence to be able to pass on that intelligence to others. And happy to be here today when it comes to marketing, sports marketing, and showing a versatile skill set within niches of marketing.
Deep, very deep. You are such a young man. You are only 35 years old.
Yes, sir.
But you have such a wealth of knowledge. Of course, educated. As we all know, education is power. And you have a certain spirit about you, a certain energy about you. I first came to meet you through one of my mentors, Melvin Johnson, also from Miami, Florida. And I received a call from you guys, I think it was 2 years ago, and we were just talking strategy. But we've kind of had a chance for the past 4 or 5 hours. We've had dinner and had a chance to talk life and strategy, and now I see what Melvin Johnson was raving about. You're quite a young man, quite a very mentally together, educated young man. I heard you speak very highly of your parents, and of course you can tell, I'm old enough to tell when someone is raised correctly, raised the right way. Tell me a little bit about growing up in Miami, Florida, like you said, Liberty City, playing basketball, but having such a diverse background from your parents, from both sides.
Right. First and foremost, both of my parents were educators at one point in their careers. My dad is a engineer in structural and hazardous waste, famous for doing the drainage system around the Dolphin Mall. That's his claim to fame. Mm-hmm. And my mom worked for Howland Oaks Elementary for like 38 years at Virginia A. Boone Howland Oaks. And they just instilled in not settling for what everyone else is selling for. Creating your own expectation and exceeding them on your own terms. And that's what I'm thankful for receiving from my parents. My parents are and have never been married, but what they did, they were able to coexist. And that's a really good sign of buying into a team culture and making sure that they pass that on.
That's teamwork, as we've been talking about all day. Teamwork is what, as the old folks say, makes the dream work. Talk to me a little bit, and I've been picking your brain today. Talk to me a little bit about Donavan Carter, the sports marketing professional, what it is you do on a professional, but also on a professional basketball level, because from what I'm understanding, you have your network extends to professional basketball as well.
When it comes to sports marketing, I cannot get my recognition without the William Eddy family, the Isaiah Thomas family, Billy Thompson, ex-NBA player family, Glenn Rice, former Heat player, Michigan alum family, and the Melvin Johnson family. Those families helped teach me early, getting me references, putting me in the right situation so I can have an internship like ISM Sports Management, where we had Torian Prince, Marcus Nee, and Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard was a part of a different faction under Brian Phoebus, and where my job was to help with the social media, business development, and being able to see and recognize flaws in their processes when it comes to marketing, sports marketing from the internships role. I think that it paved the way for me to really open my doors to the NBA ranks, executives, coaches, middlemen, and other stereotypes within basketball itself.
That's very interesting. We had a conversation this evening over lunch, dinner, and I asked you what would be the ideal city to open or to start a sports marketing company, and you said Los Angeles.
Yes. Seeing the climate of the NBA right now, it is pretty obvious that the battle for LA will be looming over the next 4 years. Everybody will be trying to leverage their network, place, time, and opportunities to be in LA. I've seen companies spring up out of nowhere during the Las Vegas Summer League to expand or insulate their business so they can function the best way possible in Los Angeles, whether it's the Lakers side or the Clippers side. In my opinion, I don't think it doesn't matter which team that you're supporting. It's about the networking scenarios that will come up. When it comes to a year-round access, knowing that there's a centralized location when it comes to games, networking, it's going to be something that will be remembered for a while. Right. And I think that if you have your success during that time, your reputation could be expanded very rapidly.
Right. Now, the question that I asked you when you said that, I asked you, was that pre-LeBron going to Los Angeles, or is that post-LeBron?
Post-LeBron, definitely. Post-LeBron dictate that the league is being orchestrated by the king. And what I mean by that is he's able to place his social inner circle into power players in Los Angeles or Southern California as a whole. Rich Paul being told by me in different articles in Sports Illustrated, he is the new kingmaker of basketball in LA. Very well described by the Sports Illustrated article, which is true. Rich Paul has made some masterful chess moves when it comes to getting AD to Los Angeles, being able to sign people below their value, such as Boogie Cousins, and having an array of companies, whether it's business development or endorsements, to back up that power play in terms of a movie like Space Jam 2, and starting a media company, having multiple documentaries, multiple TV series, and making sure that you have that reach and consistent power every day he's in LA.
So what's the difference? Because we're talking about, as you called him, LeBron James, the king. Was Magic Johnson not the same player? Was Magic Johnson not the same endorser of products? Or did Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, these people just not have the generational option of social media?
I think it is the latter, the generational option, because the money that the NBA is creating or acquiring through multiple channels has expanded rapidly. where the NBA is making over $19 billion a year, but they're not talking about the NBA as a conglomerate business. They're talking about the game of basketball versus the business of basketball, and that's where I feel that the potential for his growth is unlimited. Having a media company that has direct contracts through and from NBA content is very crucial. It is almost considered a huge differentiator in the respect that he could monetize it uniquely to everyone else before him. Magic Johnson has transcended basketball in different ways. When it comes to owning a movie theaters or a team, LeBron James is doing it while the money is at its highest. Being able to get an endorsement contract, a lifetime version of that endorsement contract, is a very huge differentiator. Being able to go into different forms of business other than media, entertainment, and basketball-based products is very crucial. For example, there was an article a couple of years ago, maybe a couple months ago to a year ago, where they were talking about trying to monetize his gut bacteria as a probiotic. And I think that that's a very huge and bold statement to make, because you're not depending on only basketball and the game of basketball. Now we're talking about healthcare. We're talking about media, publishing, copyright. Now you're expanding the palette of your portfolio. And it's very crucial that players on the top end of the NBA understand that their power is changing. And if their power is changing, that means your ability to monetize it must change with it.
Wow. Being that we're on the subject of LeBron James, you and I were talking earlier over lunch how I myself, Melvin Johnson, talks about it as well. And we were kind of marveling at the educational assistance he has received to realize that, as you just said, his largest marketing power clearly is when he's playing. He has clearly not waited to, as we used to do, wait until you're finished playing. He has created a lifetime of income for his family and generations to come. He's doing this while he's playing at his highest power point. Unprecedented. We haven't seen anyone do this in this manner ever. He's also, I'm very proud of him as well, just from a African-American youth standpoint, because he's doing it with his team. He has hired his closest friends from high school, and he has empowered them. And these young men now 24/7 run the empire that he has created, and he has entrusted. I think that is the biggest word, or the word that comes to mind when you entrust your childhood friends to run your billion-dollar empire. That takes trust, right? Friendship is one thing, but these young men he has put them through school. He has furthered their education. He's put them through courses, and they have really put themselves, Rich Paul, I heard you speak of, he has really set himself up for not only controlling LeBron James's empire, but Rich Paul is now building his own empire.
Right. And I think that that's a very crucial point, is a lot of people do not know how to pair their friends. Meaning, you could have a great friend, but it's hard to make that great friend a business partner. And it's even harder to make that great friend that's a business partner into a successful business venture to feed you, your children, and your children's children. That's what we're talking about when it comes to an equities winners exchange, meaning that you and him have broken bread together, you have bled for each other, you have been through personal, social, and economic struggles together, but you're able to turn it around together, where one may lead in one situation, the other one must follow. And the next situation, it may be reverse, where the other friend may need to lead in that situation, and you know to follow. And that team concept is very rare and unique. But when you have a guy like LeBron James, who has the charisma, who has the power, the control, the ability, the athleticism, the mental focus and fortitude to have the follow through and not be rattled easy, that sets you apart and makes you a very unique individual.
It does. The good thing about it is that his empire is built on, yes, his vast star appeal, but each one of the players, friends, brothers that he has in place carries their own weight. Rich Paul, self-made mogul.
Maverick Carter's another one.
Carter's another one. I think Randy Mims. They have their own. They have an office in Cleveland. Explain to me what this young man is doing. What's to come for the future? Clearly, we'll be talking more about blueprints, but what has he done as far as putting his flag in the sand first?
When it comes to something like that, I'm thinking that he is diversifying his portfolio when it comes to business. He knows that he has the right people for business development. He has the right people who has learned from their endorsement and being placed in internships and working for Nike or certain brands that can elevate him in the future, where he can maintain independence. He can establish and have the choice of a collaboration, and he can be an endorsee as well. Yeah. And I think that tying that into league money gives you a well-rounded dimension of the business of basketball as a whole. Right. And that sets you apart. And I think that's a lesson learned for all of us watching it from afar. And it's something that you can't reproduce every day. You have to have the right people. You have to have the right products and services. And most important, you have to have the right plan and process to monetize these situations. And that's the type of structure that I feel that all of us should live by.
Yeah. Before we go any further, I'm sure we're going to have some people, some family members, some listeners that will want to contact you to ask maybe some questions. It's such a huge blessing for us to have you here with us in Las Vegas today. We know you're traveling back tonight, so your flight got pushed back. We're blessed to have you here. If I could just have you, the social media that you use, the easiest way to get in contact with you, if I could get you to share your social media following handles.
Right. On Instagram, it's DWC Marketing on Instagram. I use that as a main platform right now because I can engage with the fan base as much as possible. I'm using it also to make sure that people see my whereabouts when it comes to the events that I attend and legends that I meet, such as Mr. Bell. And you can always contact me through there. My email as well is dotcarter@me.com. Well, I'm willing to inquire on any type of business inquiries, engage in collaborations, and take any notes of advice or negotiation.
Nice. Also, if you guys want to get in contact with Donavan, you guys can also contact us here. Our phone number is area code 702-908-1501. Our email is milton.bell@miltonbellbasketball.com. You can also contact us on our website, www.miltonbellbasketball.com. And kind of jumping in here, want to ask, how much of a blessing has education been for you? One of my things that I have written down here on my piece of paper, the most proudest, I'm proud of you for doing so much, but one of the biggest things that I put my quotations around is graduate from FIU.
Right.
Talk to me a little bit about how education has taken you from, as you explained, humble beginnings in Miami, Florida, to the mind that you currently possess for the business world that we currently live in.
Well, I feel that education helps you read between the lines, just to keep it simple. Being able to understand where theories and techniques and fundamentals come from is very crucial. You have to understand where does this information come from, because surprisingly enough, it might even point you to yourself. A lot of people debate that. Us at the table, we don't. We know. We say that education will open up the mind, but we also know that the discipline to finish your education is half of that battle. And me having my daughter before I graduated, my daughter is 6 years old now, being able to manage an international relationship, interracial marriage, all in the process, helping people get situated, and having that discipline to then grow your career, establish your career, graduate in a timely fashion, and make sure that you're learning the right information versus just a textbook. Because you don't let nobody dictate your quality of education. They can only dictate where you go to school, because your finances will carry you. And I feel that being surrounded with the right mentors, the right teachers, professors, other friends and family who are actively engaged in marketing, and being able to expose the right situations, the right materials to you, is the thing that set me apart. Right. And I'm just very fortunate to have those people in my life. Having access to different alumni networks outside of your school could show you a comparable and a contrast to information. And I feel that that's very important. You have to understand and how to establish yourself to compare yourself to your competition, but always have a contrast and differentiators to your competition. If you do not understand that, that means you have not reached a point that you can monetize it either.
Very, very different way of looking at it. It's a way that clearly you have been educated and trained to see it that way. I wish I could have more of our listeners, more of our young players starting at 10 years old. If I could get you to start to educate not just my players that are 10 years old, but the masses of all races, religious beliefs, colors, creeds, if we could start with the educational part of business 101, instead of someone learning it like me at 40 years old, or trying to learn it at 40, just getting into it. You take someone like my wife who went to school for it, you that went to school for it, you learn at a very young age. What would you do different? What would Donavan Carter do different if he had someone like himself to come to his neighborhood in Liberty City and teach him or encourage him? Because you can only encourage someone to do so.
I think the most powerful thing that you can do is monetize what you have at your disposal for yourself. I went into 6 years of service in the Navy, doing physical therapy, immunizations, dermatology, and family medicine as a medic. And I learned what teamwork was, self-service was, respect, honor, courage, commitment, all the 9 yards. But what I noticed about every brand, every company that I had to use, is that they knew how to monetize their products, service, process, and intellectual properties that they own for themselves and their company. And I would tell the young me and young men like me, is that's the difference. Put your name in the record books. Put your name in the alumni log at the college or university, so people will know that you were there. Not only that you were there, that you did well. Not only did you do well, but you accomplished. Not only that you accomplished, but you exceeded your own expectation and did it by your own rules. And I think that that's another thing that's very important. You cannot let your environment or the people around you dictate who you are. Dictate your value, most important. Your value is the most important thing that you have, because the day that you disvalue yourself is the day that you lose money for you and the people that you love. And let's be real, I can't afford to lose no checks, so I know y'all can't either.
Yeah, definitely. That is very powerful, what you said. At what age, if you can think back, what age did you open yourself up to learn that?
I went back to school at 27. In 2011, my mom had a triple bypass surgery. I came home a year and a half to take care of my mom. There was nobody to take care of her bills. Her husband was no longer living in the house with her. I almost had to get separated out of the Navy early, and my wife was new in town. She had just moved from Tokyo, quitting her job at SMBC, one of the third largest bank in Japan, doing foreign exchange banking. And she was feeling like a fish out of water. And she sees me become a servant to my mom. And I can see her respect for me grows because she knows what I was willing to do for my wife. And I think that brought our love to a new plateau, and being able to understand what we need to do to make a marriage last. Now, I'm not saying that I'm perfect and everything like that, but what I am saying is that when your spouse sees you working hard for the people that you love, they feel more at ease to love you more, because they see you working hard for the others. Okay? And that's where I learned in the military, where you have to learn how to prioritize your team, your family, and take care of each other.
Well said. Well said. Speaking of helping others, you guys are to be commended. You and Melvin Johnson and the network of people that you named recently. We'll have you name those again, but you guys are doing great things as far as helping youth in Miami currently. I want you to elaborate, not to brag, but just to shed some light on what's being done, but maybe shed some more light on what more can be done. We may have some listeners that may be open to helping donate to causes that you guys have going on there in Miami. Share a little bit about your network of, as we say in Virginia, where I was born, it takes a village to raise kids. Talk to us a little bit about your village that you have going on down in Miami, Florida.
Well, we have Melvin Johnson is doing a great nonprofit project called the Aid for Future Community Dreamers. The acronym is AFFCD.org. AFFCD.org, where we're combining a specialty facility for basketball with a step up in STEM. Step Up is known in Florida for an educational program, and STEM when it refers to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Where we can put that under one house, and educate the youth and bring those unique niches of science and technology and sports and make it entertaining. Let's make it translate directly into how visuals play out in sports, how business impacts sports, how technology is being incorporated amongst the entertainment side of basketball, as well as the game, and being able to see the nuances and how it changes. Because you get behind that curve, you will be stuck behind it for a while because it's a lot of money to be made in the beginning. We're not just trying to use different platforms as a showcase. We're trying to have a repeatable, scalable, and profitable process for people to follow, right? And when we're able to execute this in a high manner, we're able to monetize it for ourselves and our families so that we can share it with the right people.
Once again, this is our TMBT Media Las Vegas podcast. We're live from the Las Vegas Strip here in Bally's Casino. The actual third episode that we started. We're blessed to have Donavan Carter here to talk a little bit about who he is, what he does, what he's learned. But I would have to, he's been here quite a while. You've seen quite a few Summer League games here. So I would be a bad host if I didn't bring up Zion Williamson. What's your personal opinion of, first of all, what the NBA Summer League does for this town of Las Vegas, Nevada, from a business standpoint, the economy shift that it brings in, the economy overload that it brings in on top of a city that already has a booming tourist attraction. Everyone wants to come here. Talk to me about your experience. You've been here more than more than once. What is Las Vegas? Is it becoming the basketball capital of the summer?
I would agree with that. The summertime is in Las Vegas because during the summer league games, yes, there's everybody that comes in. The players, the executives, the trainers, the middlemen, and everybody in between. The endorsement guys, the shoe companies, and everything come together. But at the end of August as well, that's when the chess moves start. People come back to Las Vegas to see what they can leverage when the dust settles from free agency, to see how the summer league teams are panning out. Where's the extra value socially and economically that they can put into play for themselves? That's when a GM could really make his reputation leading into the preseason.
Right.
This is when a person can get an upgrade in a job where they may not be disgruntled, but they may not be happy either. And you can do it the most polite way or politically correct way as possible. And that's what we're about. We're about strategy and chess moves. And if you're not on that level right now, you need to work yourself to that level, because that's, if you want to be in sports marketing, if you want to be in the entertainment of the game of basketball or the business of basketball, you have to put that on your travel list.
You kind of hit it on the head. I wish our listeners could be here to feel the electricity that's in the streets, but it's beautiful to see basketball bring so many people together. People that maybe normally wouldn't be together. They are here for family reasons, but I think that's the beauty of basketball, is it brings people together. It's a sport that fans come from all over to watch, and Las Vegas is one of the great places to see it. I asked you before, and you said Los Angeles, right? How about Miami? Let's talk Miami talk. You got Jimmy Butler coming in town, maybe Russell Westbrook. I would have thought that a young man, educated, born and raised in Miami. I've never been to Miami, but I would think that you would say Miami, Florida. You got beaches. Of course, you have beaches in LA. What makes you say LA before you would say Miami, Florida, hometown?
First of all, I love Miami. I want to make that very, very clear. But the primary sport that I deal with is basketball. And the only 2 to 3 cities that have a double team city is New York and LA.
Okay.
I include the Bay Area because San Francisco is not too far from Sacramento sometimes, right?
All right.
I like the LA area because the Clippers and the LA rivalry will be at the highest it's ever been. Obviously post LeBron and post Kawhi. That LA versus LA market is really crucial because you have godfathers such as Jerry West. Jerry West has access to every room in that building.
Yeah.
It's nothing that he doesn't know. Right. He has snitches on both sides of the line. Okay? Yeah. So Jerry is one of those guys that if he wants it, he will get it. There's nobody gonna, when you have Magic on the other side, you may have a little bit of counterbalance, right?
Yeah.
But let's be real. Jerry West is going to run circles around Rob Pelinka because he's not a powerhouse agent right now. And his best guy is James Harden, I believe.
Right.
And James Harden is not in the state to give him that leverage either.
Right.
So I would say Godfather to Godfather, they had a better chance with Magic. Magic is now not with the Lakers, but he still helps out the Lakers. These are very crucial things. So Jerry West is really the orchestrator in there.
Right. Tell me one thing from a from a business standpoint, from a sports marketing standpoint. What does Zion Williamson have in front of him? As far as we talk about here, we're here in Las Vegas, gambling capital, capital of everything maybe. Zion Williamson is going to, some people say, lose money because he didn't go to your LA or didn't go to New York, a bigger market, the little bit that I know and willing to believe is that, yes, if this was 1988 and Zion Williamson went to the Pelicans when there was no social media, he could possibly lose money. But because we're living in the generational option of having mega social media, mega television coverage, everything, will his pocketbook suffer from being chosen by the Pelicans?
I think that his financial portfolio would be different. It may not suffer. For example...
Different meaning bigger, or different meaning...
I think it would be comparable. I want to use the word comparable. Comparable meaning that he will lose a little bit of league money, but his endorsement money will be ballooned because it allows Nike to wrap him up for longer years and incentivize him with bonuses.
So it'll be about same amount of money just spread out
in different ways. Yes.
So wouldn't that essentially be even a better move? Or
I think it will not translate until after his first 7 years when he can compare it, because like AD did, he went from a small market to a large market. It's a huge trend for players to go from a small market to a large market. Right. They very rarely stay in a double small market after 7 years.
Right. Here's a question that I have for you. I don't know if you're able to answer. I've been reading, let's say for the past 4 months, right? Since, well, probably for the past 2 years, I've been reading where the housing market in California is the highest it's ever been, the highest in the country. You're now telling me that post LeBron in our LA equation, would you be willing to say that, like you and I talked about, with the two teams in LA becoming powerhouses, does that now, and of course this is just a theory of mine, basketball is a small part of very few people's lives, but can LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard really make a seismic shift in the LA landscape like you've been telling me today?
I totally agree. It happened in Miami. When LeBron James moved to Miami, the average people moving to that area from the surrounding suburbs increased. Now, I might not have all the numbers with me, but I know that people are drawn to those type of situations.
Right.
When being drawn into those situations, the housing market does expand a little bit. Commercial real estate changes where people want to live in units versus homes because they can't afford it in these high cost of living areas. And Miami, that happens a lot. When it comes to that, I think that there's multiple types of revenues that occur during that times because of these players' movements. When you're having 4 of the top 10 to 15 players move to the area at the same time, that shows that it's going to be electricity in the air. Where you already having the added bonus of having Hollywood there and knowing that sports is going to be at an all-time high. And, it forces people to have the idea that maybe I should move to Southern California. And I lived in San Diego for a year. I love San Diego, but it's really expensive. Right. I'm not for anybody. Right. But I think that the people who can't afford it will, and the people that can will try.
Right. Well, talk to me about, just from you having your relationship with so many professional athletes, does that ever come up in a meeting that you're having with a potential client or a current client, to where you're saying, hey, if we decide to go and play in a bigger market, our salary may be less, but our endorsements could make, kind of like we were talking about Zion Williamson, it's spread out more? Is that a conversation that you have often with?
I agree, but a lot of the players that I know of, they focus on having multiple condos where they have real estate agents that help them find deals of high quality builds or new constructions or foreclosures as well, that they can easily flip into a very comfortable environment. And I've seen that very noticeable amongst the concierge that services these professionals, and most importantly to the real estate agents that are attached to these agencies. You know, friends of mine's, every other one has a wife in real estate. Right. And it's an easy pairing, and it's a smart pairing, I want to infer. It's a very smart thing to do, because you're trying to keep that money in selective circles. You don't want to just hand out $1 million when you can go, your spouse is more than smart enough to pass a test and bring that money. I would prefer that way too. Yeah. I would love to have my rib next to me and be able to write her a check from a friend of mine for $500,000 to $1 million for a condo that they can have easy access to training and stuff like that. Yeah. Especially when a lot of these guys live a bi-coastal lifestyle. Okay, so if they're in a small market, they may have something in New York and one in LA. If they live in LA, they would have one in Miami and one in New York. If they're from Chicago, they may have 3 because they're trying to find the right pieces. They live in Chicago, they'll have a condo in Miami or rental house in Miami that they consistently have access to, where they're pulling their money together with a couple of other friends, a player, and they're passing that information, the keys around. They stand with each other anyway. Right. It's very frugal to think that way, and having the condo in LA and New York. What I like about having access to New York and specifically is because you get to be around the league headquarters and people around there, and seeing the intersections of social and economic disparity. Not only disparity, but also distribution, because that information is really crucial, and you can't have it unless you make that a priority for yourself. Draft time is a priority. The Player Association headquarters there, so it becomes a priority. You have to see where the check writers are. You have to go and see and be in their face. And New York and LA are those places where the check writers are.
Okay, perfect. I'm learning so much from you. If I'm understanding you correctly, Kevin Durant understood that.
Yes, he did.
Going from Oklahoma City to California, full of check writers, he makes would you call it a lateral, or would you call it in chess, we're using chess analogy?
Chess move. Chess move. But you gotta think about it like this, and I'm gonna give you a real nugget. A couple of years ago, Kevin Durant had a special on HBO, right? His marketing head for Rock Nation Sports is Michael Yormark. And if you know who Michael Yormark is, he is the guy from the Florida Panthers that was with Rock Nation Sports before it began, and sold the South Florida market on hockey in a warm environment. Okay? The second piece in chess move is who his brother is. His brother works for the Brooklyn Nets, and I believe he still currently lives in Brooklyn and works for the Nets as well. So who would be able to pull the chess move out of the hat? Would be the Yormark family. You have to think about it like this, Mr. Bell. If it's not a business tie, it's a blood tie. Every single time.
You bring up Kevin Durant. I've been reading so many great things about this young man. He has put together a empire. I've read that he has Michael Rubenstein as one of he was with Rock Nation, and maybe he lured him away from Rock Nation to come and work for him. How does that happen? How does, of course, money, of course we get that from a sports marketing, right, because they are Rock Nation. He's an employee of Rock Nation, Kevin Durant is, but he's hired another Rock Nation employee to come work for him?
Yes, that's a loophole in management. That's why it's very important for you to understand the levels of equity distribution. League money is a level. Endorsement is a level. Business development is wide open. You have to establish your team to understand how to monetize it and put the right people in place. I've seen players go through 80 to 100 grand a year doing biz development wrong. I've seen them open too many businesses too fast with the wrong people, and then they're just becoming, they might as well burn the money at that time. Okay? So what I'm saying is, people like the people that you mentioned, Kevin Durant has learned to see who is actually making money for themselves versus for their team. And if your team is not doing the same thing, that means that you're surrounded by the wrong people.
Right. We talked earlier about being surrounded by the right people, the right team, the right team. I always make the analogy to basketball. You shared something with me earlier about players, in particular, who have so many people around them. They have so many people giving them advice that they either choose, it seems, they choose not to listen to anyone, regardless of if they're paying or it's free advice. They have so many people talking to them, talking heads, that it becomes apparently a point to where they just blurt out everyone or blare out the noise. How does that work? What do you do if you are, for our young men who one day hope to be in a position like that? How do you manage? How do you balance everything?
Well, let's be real. Everybody's not going to have a Rich Paul, a Maverick Carter, and a Randy with them. You have to know how to pair. So what a lot of people have done that I've seen in the past, and I've been fortunate enough to witness with my own eyes, is people reaching out to the godfathers of basketball, the Isaiah Thomases of the world, the Magic Johnsons of the world, the Sonny Vaccaros of the world, to really teach them where to be, who to deal with, and what to invest in. Okay? And I've been really fortunate enough to have exposure to the Isaiah Thomas family, who have really taught me a lot, and particularly his right-hand man, William Eddy. William Eddy has introduced me to a lot of important people over the last 5-6 years, and these type of people understand pairing great families with other great families in the same way, the same mindset, and most importantly, they're not easily rattled when things come into play.
I want to make a correction. I spoke incorrectly. His name is Rich Kleiman.
Rich Kleiman. Yes.
Kleiman. I think Michael Rubenstein is the part owner for the Philadelphia 76ers. Okay. I was wrong. Correction. Rich Kleiman worked for Rock Nation and was lured away to work for 35 Media and the Kevin Durant Company. That is power.
Yes. It gives you power because you dictate your narrative. You don't just accept it as it comes. Big difference.
Talk to me a little bit about, we'll go back and talk a little bit about the legend Melvin Johnson. And you brought it up, you said it best. You're dictating your narrative. Well, what you guys, to me, from what I understand, you guys with your AFFCD, you guys are dictating a positive outcome for youth in Miami, Florida. You guys have, to me, what I would call a basketball blueprint that you guys are creating in Miami with your specialty facility. Share with us a little bit, what you can, the groundbreaking effect this will have on youth present, but future youth in the community, future jobs. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, me and Melvin, we're really talking about one specific thing. We always want the top 1% in the metropolitan area in the same gym at the same time. There's no facility that I can name in the South Florida market that can provide that leverage to players, organizations, and companies. We also feel that there's no educational component attached to these specialty facilities. It's pay, play, and go home. We would want you to stay so that you get smarter here too. And that's one of the crucial differentiators for us when it comes to the AFFCD, which is called the Aid for Future Community Dreamers. We want to have an environment based upon learning, based upon technology, based upon entertainment, and most importantly, competition, mental, physical competition, arrangement, narrative, growth, and prosperity for everyone involved. This is what we're about. We are about combining a specialty facility with at least 10 full feature court with seating and educational programs that will match the state and federal plans for grant funding.
That's like I said, that's life-changing for those kids that will be, or those families, because it changes the narrative for the kid, it changes the narrative for the parent. It gives, you and I know that basketball can be a very influential part in a young man's life, and it can shape him for the good, for the bad. It's something that I use the word blueprint. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know the area, but I don't hear of anything that's currently up and running like that. So when I say blueprint, it sounds like it's going to be the first one of one. Talk to me about what that means for you guys to know that you're giving back so much.
Right. A lot of people want to make a school. A lot of people want to make an academy. But the academy falls short because they can't incorporate everyone. They have pitfalls. Seating is a pitfall where you can't fit 3,000 people in the same gym amongst 3 to 5 courts. You just can't do it. These specialty facilities are not in the South Florida market. The best one to compare it to is Disney Wild World of Sports, right? Okay. But in the same breath, we feel that they already have theirs in the Orlando market. South Florida is becoming a growing destination when it comes to basketball, sports in general, diversity, but also being to hold these large events, whether it's educational or sports based. That versatility is very different to us, and that's what we strive for.
Once again, I want to have you, before we close up, we have a couple more minutes here. I want to get you to share your social media, your contact info with our listeners, for those youth that we hope are listening and want some knowledge about what they are trying to get into. It can be very important just to talk. I think you and I talked for about 2 or 3 hours today, and I learned so much in a short period of time. Share with us your social media and your contact info once again.
Right. On Instagram, it is at DWC Marketing, where my email is also OTCARTER. I'm really interested in collaborations, serious business inquiries, looking for things that we can partner up together collectively. My information can be easily obtained through Mr. Milton Bell as well, and I'm thankful for the community here in Las Vegas for inviting me and being very receptive, and all the new people that I've met, and I'm really happy to have met Mr. Bell and his family.
We also are very honored to. I call it a blessing. Sometimes I feel that God puts people in your path to teach you things. It's up to us as humans to be open-minded and to not have such a huge ego where we are not open to learning. And I really thank today was very enlightening for me. I'm learning. We're glad to have you as a part of our TMBT family. In closing, talk to me a little bit about Donavan Carter, FIU graduate, 2019, July 8th, 9th. What's next for Donavan Carter? You have already accomplished so much at a very young age. You have to be commended. Where does a sports marketing guru go from here?
I think that also is very to be determined. But the main focus is to keep building relationships, first of all, and to find where your lane is. You have to find people that you move well with, that you develop good chemistry with. Of course, I have different ideas right now. I have different business ventures such as Drip Miami. I'm doing different collaborations with Tyon Suits, TicketTurkey.com, and other different business ventures. I'm helping out with the Miami Pro League in Miami, Florida, where we have a 8-week collaboration on marketing with Outrank Apparel, 9540 Apparel as well, and where we're just trying to make sure that we have the brand awareness, we have the versatility in brands being offered, and that people know who I am and I'm on the tip of people's tongue in the right fashion. Being able to dictate my own narrative. That's the whole reason of my trip in Las Vegas. Being able to establish new friends, new allies, and new strategic partners.
That's it sounds like we're here for the same reasons, and it's definitely what I appreciate you taking the time. Like we said, you are in transit on your way back home. I had a few extra minutes to have lunch with my wife and myself, so we are honored to have you to talk to learn from, to consider you family. Beside the relationship that we have, we both have, one of our mentors is Melvin Johnson, so that makes us disciples of Melvin Johnson. So it's beautiful to just see what I'm really looking forward to getting to Miami to talk more shop with you guys. We had talked before about doing some more pro camps down there, so it's just encouraging for me to finally get a chance to meet you and to find out that what Melvin Johnson says about Donavan Carter is all true and all well deserved. So from us here at TMBT Media Las Vegas, for our podcast here on the Las Vegas Strip, we are here at Bally's Casino, which means I would be a bad host if I didn't ask you who is your prediction to win the NBA championship. We're here. We're right here at Bally's, sitting at the sports book. You and I have been talking Los Angeles all day. Going to put you on the spot. Who do you like here? If you had $1 million extra, I'm just laying around, and here in Las Vegas, I'm sure you realize that you can go and bet early, 1 year in advance, on who you think is going to win, right? Donavan Carter, graduate FIU, smart man, marketing guru, extra $1 million. Who do you put it on right here?
I got some contingencies now. I don't bet straight out like this.
Okay.
First of all, I got $1 million. I'm saving it. Number two, if I have Russell Westbrook and Jimmy Butler coming out of the East, I'm picking Miami all day. If not, I think it's going to be the best chance for either LA or Houston to win the championship. Mm-hmm. I feel that those pairings are very important. They are under a lot of extreme pressure. Yeah. And they have a lot of people who have done well in the past with responding to that type of pressure. Yeah. But to answer your question, I will put LA in the front runner right now. The Lakers.
Lakers
The
over.
Lakers
Okay.
over the Clippers. The reason why,
Okay. All right.
because LeBron James will be playing point guard.
I saw that.
The second one is the bench for the Lakers will be a little bit better. You'll have somebody like Caldwell Pope coming off the bench.
Right.
You have Boogie coming off the bench if healthy and cheap.
Right.
He was at $5 million last year. He's at 3.5 this year.
Right.
So he's really incentivized to keep working on his health.
Right.
And knowing LeBron James, he got one or two more people to come over. Rondo was another one coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Kyle Kuzma is somebody I'm really, really, really high on right now. It's nothing that his body can't do. And me personally, they don't need a third person.
Right.
They should just give him his confidence
Right.
and let him go to work and transition. He can fill in the lane easy. He has a half-court set. He's a low post, high post, and wing player,
Right.
and he can play the 3 and D role.
Right.
And these type of player packages is what me and Mr. Bell really believe in. Knowing your package, knowing your game, not going off script, and learning that you're going to be playing with one of the best passers that ever lived.
Right.
And if he says that he can coast at the point guard, that is a serious accusation to the rest of the league. Because he's not chasing around everybody. He's getting older.
Right.
So he's going to put them in the lion chamber because the king about to go to work.
Right. For those, I want to go on record now. Today is Tuesday, July, 9th, right? July 9th. I want our listeners to go back to our podcast to last night, July 10th. And I was talking about the Lakers and what they should do. And I listed LeBron James at point guard for the Lakers is what I thought they should do. I wake up this morning and I turn on ESPN and the Lakers are officially saying that LeBron James will be playing point guard.
And one of the things that he has at his disposal is that people all his career said he was more Magic than Michael. Right. Now he has the opportunity to give us the best Magic Johnson package outside of Magic Johnson.
Correct. We're here at Bally's Casino, live from Las Vegas. It's our third episode here of our podcast, TNBT Media Las Vegas. Once again, we're here with Donavan Carter from Miami, Florida, graduate of FIU in marketing. Once again, before we wrap up last time, I'm going to ask you to share your social media for our fans.
On Instagram, it is DWC Marketing. And my email is OTCarter@me.com. If you have any other inquiries, you can send it to Mr. Bell himself and the podcast family, where they will give me the right information. More than willing to work with him in collaboration with him. Thank you for his gracious hospitality with him and his family. And I'm here if you need me. Sports marketing, let's go.
Perfect. Once again, we're blessed to have Donavan Carter, sports marketing guru, born and raised in Miami, Florida, graduate of FIU, here with us tonight. It's 5 o'clock here in Las Vegas. Donavan has a flight to catch, so we are going to not hold him up for long. We've been with him all evening, talking shop. He still has to get back to his hotel and get to the airport. So we're going to be signing off here from Bally's Casino, TNBT Media Las Vegas. This is our third episode live from Las Vegas with Donavan Carter, the sports marketing guru. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be checking in soon.